Hey, I'm Brendon Greaves and I'm powered by science. I drive the E92 BMW here. It's powered by an LS. Originally from Australia, moved here probably 2 years ago. LS Fest is one of the best events I've been to, so we had to come back here. I'm lucky enough to have some sponsors that have brought me, so Hot Shot Secret's one of them, and much appreciate it.
What got you into drifting?
Alright, well the real story is I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger. So essentially I was drifting in the wrong places, and then as I earned more money it allowed me to go to a racetrack and do it in the right places. So once we started drifting in the right places, I actually used to do a lot of burnouts, because burnouts is really big in Australia. So I would actually go and do burnout competitions, and then one of the burnout competitions had drifting on at the same time, and it was really cheap to enter both, so I just entered both thinking I was going to do both, and I actually never went back to a burnout track. Because drifting is honestly like doing burnouts at really high speed. So it's like a burnout, but way more fun in my opinion. That was when I was 17, 18, I'm actually 37 today, so 20 years ago. So basically drifting starts from, they call it grassroots essentially, which is like super important because that's where all the fresh people are coming in. So anyone that's like enjoys the sport, thinks it's cool, wants to have a go, has a car that they'd like to drift, that's basically how it starts. It starts with, they start at grassroots, then they get the bug competition usually of like, hey, I want to go better, I want to go faster, I want a bigger engine. So then that just gets worse and worse and worse. And then eventually I did really well in my local series. And then we went side out of our local series and did a national series and did really well in that. And then I used to drive in Japan a fair bit. Many years ago, Japan was actually really affordable for Australians to fly to Japan, drive and fly home. It was actually cheaper for me to fly and drive in Japan than it was to drive in Australia. We won a big event in Jakarta, and then from Jakarta I actually got my Formula Drift Pro license, and that's basically how this car came. I was running an older style car at the time. I wanted some sponsors. Basically when I reached out to sponsors, they wanted a newer model car, and that's how we ended up with the M3 BMW. So, and then from that, I was like, I'm going to do Formula Drift Pro, having no idea what that was actually going to cost me, and I'm just a normal dude working. That didn't happen. I made it to America now, and it's been like a 5-year journey to get here, but I'm here now, finally getting some good people around me, and life's pretty good, man. This we built in Australia, and I actually run an Australian Albin sequential transmission, which is sponsored, and that is same as what we run in our supercars and stadium trucks, so it's a super tough transmission. Hot Shots actually have a nice 85 140 oil I run in that. I run a Winters quick change in the back of it, which is kind of like a sprint car diff. It's been modified so we can change gear ratios whenever we want. I actually broke my really good motor, and I have a stock 6-litre truck motor with gap rings and a really nice set of Hooper's heads on it. I got a fair bit of boost in it, but ramping it in slow. I tune all my own cars, I build everything, I fabricate everything. It's basically just me and some friends in a yard building stuff. Drifting is basically ballet of the motorsport world. We have people judging what we're doing. It's basically one mistake and you're going home. You can't make it up on the next lap or the next turn. Like, you have one mistake, so you put cheap shitty oil in there and the engine blows up on the first lap. That's done. So it's like you need all the best of everything because you can't have a mistake. So that's basically most of my sponsors, and Hot Shots being one of them. That is why I picked. Like, I didn't just pick Hot Shots because I was like, oh look, I need some oil. I did some research, and they were one company that was like, they actually offered a racing oil. I spoke to Trey, and he's super smart. He had like more information than what I even knew what to do with, but I do have a lot of data this car, and I did know I get oil temps really hot with a turbo LS. So that was one thing that I'm always pretty critical about picking an oil. They need to be able to take the temperature, and that's basically, that was like my first question. Like, I get oil really hot, I do the best I can to cool it. That's usually what I kill, and then that was kind of how we started.
So what have you seen in oil temperature difference in hot shots versus running other oils?
Well, oil temps are running about 10 to 15 degrees cooler, which was kind of crazy. I didn't really know that was going to happen. From the data of what I used to run to what I run now, I've literally lost 15 degrees of oil temp, so that's pretty amazing. This weekend we're using their top blue in the fuel. You're drawing about half an amp less current on fuel pumps as well. So E85 is pretty dry. And basically this whole car's hot shots from engine oil to diff oil, any oil or lubrication to hot shots.
Do you have any other sponsors or anybody else to help you out?
So yeah, there's a few companies that do help me out. Probably my biggest sponsor is my wife, Drift Money. So every dollar we can earn, basically here. Brendon have come on board this year, so that's been super amazing. Hooper's Head, which is here today, that's their own personal cylinder head in this. After I broke my big motor, they were like, hey, we got you, so it's got a set of Hooper's heads on it. That's their whole valve train, their cam setup. We're making about 750 horsepower with 14 pounds in it. I got pretty high air intake temps, to be honest, with this setup, so I don't have a lot of time. But we want to keep the motor together, so that works for us. And they would be my main sponsors, to be honest, like this. Blank canvas. Turbo Smart actually just gave us 2 new wastegates for this car, so that was pretty cool. They're actually here today as well. So that would be my main sponsors for the moment. So you can either follow me on Instagram, Facebook or YouTube. It's just Brendon Greaves. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow us, it'd be much appreciated. Enjoy the ride.